then I think it was Paul Bearer came out. No,
Loving these impressions.
he's mine. You can have it.
Here we go.
We're back.
Season 3.
Who saw us making it this far?
I think I did. I think. I don't know. Non-believers out there hoping that we just burn out, but we're never going to burn out.
All those haters we have.
Yeah.
Then again, given the comments you leave online on certain things, I can fully see us having a couple at this point.
I like to goad. I like to goad. I like to be goaded.
It's the best kind of way of getting a little bit of attention on ourselves.
I do like how true to what we sort of said last year, that we were just going to be sporadic with releases. The season, I feel like it didn't really abruptly end. It was actually a similar ending to season 1, where we just ended it with a random episode with Olivia. I think it was actually quite a decent ending.
Yeah, I mean, bringing her back from the first season, quite poetic. It was a little bit less of a downer than talking about Bray Wyatt immediately after he died.
That was mad.
No, it was before he died, wasn't it? We released it after he died.
Yeah, we released it after, but it was before and we didn't know. Yeah. Should we jump straight in? Should we jump straight into the obvious? The getting some rant, I think. It would be somewhat of a rant, but I think just putting it out there, this is not a review show. And but we obviously gonna have to talk about the Raw Netflix.
Yeah.
It was the other day. We're on Saturday the 11th. So yeah, it was the other day. Actually watched SmackDown last night / this morning.
Old. So Bailey is now number 1 contender.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who asked for that?
This is not a review show.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to have my Smarky observations. I actually had imagine I've got 2 pages of notes. My first thing was just like the tarp. I think I was writing this whilst watching. I was like, the tarp. What's with the tarp?
Do you mean the ring mat?
No, we'll get into that. The where they projected the story of wrestling.
Sorry, we are speaking. I was thinking of the SmackDown thing. Yeah, they've never used that before, and they're never going to use it again.
How long was Triple H standing aside of that? Did the crowd see him go in, or was he just snuck in and they were like, "Oh my god!" How long was he in there for? Just chilling.
Probably longer than Kane's first title run. It felt weirdly personal.
That was personal.
I did like the idea of it. I thought in terms of doing something kind of grandiose, the whole idea of the history of wrestling thing I thought was great. Because in reality, this was essentially a soft reboot.
Yeah, I was going to get into that a little bit. I don't want to do a play for play because the notes are short because I stopped taking notes very quickly. The first thing I wrote was The Rock made me grin. Now I'm going to quickly jump to
grin.
Yes, we'll get into that. There's a note after which is The Rock / the people's stubble, because that was a bold look. It was a bold look. As soon as he came out, I was like, oh, this is an interesting look for The Rock. He looks like he's going through a tough time.
The people's sleepless nights. The most electrifying rough night in the history.
You had some strong words for the Rock's opener.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit atrocious. I'm not going to lie. I completely understand starting with The Rock, especially with him being the boss of TKO. Especially with him just being the most recognisable person in WWE. More so than John Cena. I know John Cena's probably the person people most associate with wrestling. Given what he's going through, you can't have opened the show with John Cena. But what The Rock did was not only did he just get rid of about 1.5 years of storytelling, he also just fondled Netflix balls for 15 minutes.
Yeah, essentially. I say, allow me to, maybe I have to bleep the name, Adam Blampier. Just briefly, a very short one. What I would have done there was I would have had The Rock interrupt Triple H's speech, because Triple H narrated the whole story of wrestling thing. So he basically did an opening. He did the opening. So whilst he was doing his opening, because I think the thing that messed it up to me, oh my god, phone. The thing that annoyed me was like, oh, let's start the show. And then it said, oh, let's start the show. But then The Rock came out and just did like corporate shit. And it was like, and then the show started. So I was like, what they should have done really there was I would have had The Rock interrupt Triple H towards the end, which would have been a little bit like, ooh, because you've got the power play there, like, oh, Triple H is running the show, but The Rock's board of directors, and he's also somewhat, I suppose, considered more highly in wrestlers than Triple H, a bit more popular. Triple H is very, very, very popular, very, very accomplished, but then there's The Rock. That complains to that. And then have him be like, and then at the start of the show, sort of undermining him. That would have been a bit more fun. Play into it, a bit more theatric. That's the only adjustment I would have made. That way, because the thing that you're mad about, that I think a lot of people are upset about, which I recognise as The Rock is sort of jumping in and out of kayfabe. He's sort of like being corporate Rock, sort of like doing what Triple H is doing by not being in character when he comes out. He is Paul Levesque, the fucking COO.
Yeah.
And The Rock sort of like jumping in and out of being the final. He's saying he's the final boss, but he's actually acting as board of directors right now. Like majority, like he's not in the story. He's not tied into anything.
He's a bit of a pantomime villain right now. It's like, it's the final boss. Ooh.
But he's not doing anything.
But no, it's just Dwayne.
It's just Dwayne being Dwayne and like being a fan and being like, I don't know, it's a bit weird. So I get it why people are mad. I'm just like, I understand why he's doing it, but yeah, it's a bit weird. But he's going in and out of being on the nose, being The Rock, being Dwayne. But whatever. Moving on from that, the only other notes I actually had was Roman sponsored underwear, because I know he's sponsored by Nike, and his underwear was showing.
Yeah, what's his name? Pat McAfee was going on about, aren't they the nicest wrestling boots you've ever seen? They're trainers, bro.
I think Corey also mentions his shoes a lot. Can I get a bottle opener?
Absolutely.
And then, as you mentioned, the ring mat, that was atrocious. I feel like right there, Netflix sort of like, after they, sort of lightly teased us, weaned us into it with the Prime one. Netflix were like, yeah, we're going fucking crazy with this shit. There's going to be logos all over this motherfucker.
You got My Little Pony. You got fucking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater over here. Fucking someone's going to tap out on the Fortnite logo eventually.
Yeah.
See, it's not just me. I rewatched an episode recently and I saw myself struggling for about a minute.
How do you do this?
I don't know. I just wing it every time. Hey.
We got there, everybody. Yeah, the Fortnite logo was hilarious.
I get the bottle cap as well.
I'm also gonna mention, this is his complaint. These are my downs. Shout out Simon Miller. The prison guard looking refs. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Why? What? Why did you do that?
They look like they should be in the GTA equivalent of Slim Chickens. They're about to take your order.
But they're evil and the chicken like black. It's like charcoal chicken or whatever. Some bullshit. This one is going to be my middle. This isn't a complaint. It was fun at times, but also got very tiresome, which was Michael Cole's endless exposition.
Is endless what?
Exposition.
Oh, okay.
It was non-stop. And I get it. Like I said, this was a soft reboot. It's the first, like, I was saying it to Olivia, I was like, that. The presentation's never been like this in terms of like how much they were sort of easing people in that clearly had been like either were watching for the first time out of curiosity, or people that maybe have been out of the loop, like myself, had been like for a while, easy. And it was like, for me, if this was the point that I'd come back from like not watching for like 10 years, it would have been quite interesting. I get it, and it was well done. And I will say this actually. Going back to something that you said a while ago, it was a lot of just straight wrestling. There was minimal talking. Oh, plenty of video packages for days. But again, that was all the exposition. That was all the, ease people in, soft reboot shit. But it was just a lot of straight wrestling.
Yeah. It was essentially PLE wrestling. Even down to the countless kickouts of finishing moves.
Yeah.
Which I think people are going to... A lot of the newcomers and the casual guys are going to have to get used to actually seeing people winning one finishing move when Raw goes to a bit more of a normal show. But it kind of had all the hallmarks of what you've come to expect from a Triple H booked match at this point.
Mm.
And you have loads of run-ins. You have quite a few kickouts. It's chaotic, but it's a good match. You've got something to look forward to. It's why I really appreciated the main event. With the main event, I'm not going to say I was disappointed because I know for a fact this feud isn't over. Rollins and Punk have got. They're probably going to fight at Mania. Drew might be in there as well, but it actually felt like a straight wrestling match, and that's been sorely lacking recently. So there was a bit of variety.
We'll see. We'll get into our predictions for the end of the episode, but as a perfect segue into what I think we were planning to talk about for this episode, they're throwing it around, which I think was just straight again pandering to the corporate bot synergy and whatever, the Netflix era, the Paul Effect era, the Netflix era, the Bloodline era. Cheap. It's horrible. It's horrible.
The Netflix era.
The Bloodline story is never ending, but I still want to call it the Meta era. But
Pat said he said it's time to Netflix and yeet. I was so close to turning off then and there. That's awful.
Pat McAfee's hilarious.
He is hilarious, but
he is hilarious. I'm enjoying Pat McAfee.
It's too trendy for me. I don't like it.
Oh, the yeet stuff is like getting on my nerves a little bit. Olivia hates it now. She was like, it's just so cheesy. I'm like, yeah, but that's what wrestling's about.
Yeah,
I get it. Kids love yeet. I hate it.
Kids love yeet.
I hate
love a bit of yeet.
But whatever, it's working. Whatever.
Yeah, he's over as fuck. I'm happy for him. Jimmy's a good guy now, so we don't have to see the two of them wrestle again.
I think I might become a Jimmy fan this year. I think I might end up turning to the Jimmy side. I prefer his theme song.
I've had enough of West Ham. I'm going Millwall. Fuck it.
says the guy who went for Man
No. I've been in a rough place recently, actually.
This is all self-inflicted. I'm not getting into this.
Yeah, it is self-inflicted. And by a rough place, I mean I was in Birmingham yesterday. So you show some respect. I'm doing home and away.
Sorry, anyone who is both a football and a basketball fan, and maybe a wrestling fan if you're watching this, I imagine, I don't feel sorry for him because I'm a Miami Heat fan. I will say no more.
Florida man.
No, it's not about that. It's about what's going on with my team. My team's falling apart drastically. Okay, so we'll move on. Let's stick to wrestling.
It's a tease for when we inevitably branch out.
When we get bought by some, hopefully TKO. I don't know.
You got Fortnite in the middle of the room here. The sequel to Barbie up here. But yeah, eras.
What defines the eras? Because obviously, yeah, it's not. We're not actually acknowledging the Netflix era.
No,
we could acknowledge the Bloodline era, although I don't know. It's not. Is it defining enough to be this era's sort of little tagline? I don't think so.
No, this is. I know. Originally, they were calling it the Renaissance era, but given the fact that the public eye on wrestling could change at any moment, you might want to hold off on calling it that. I'll talk more about it when we come to my predictions later on. But,
what are your predictions?
Nothing doom and gloom. It's okay. To call it the Netflix era, I think kind of does away with what eras have been in the past, and they've been a reflection on what the actual product is, not where they've been shown. And that even comes down to what we'll talk about as well, which is what comes between the eras, which I think is more exciting and more interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what sort of goes into it for me. Like, obviously, there's, I say what defines the era, but like, I think there's the obvious things. What defined the Attitude Era, the fucking bullshit, the nonsense, the competitiveness. But I think I think what brought this about when we were spitballing ideas, I think it was like, I had this concept of like, that there is obviously like a lull between each era, like, when everything sort of peters out and like, whatever made that era defining is sort of done with now and something new comes about. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's unintentional, but there's still that sort of like brief period before. Like, what are those periods, and can you sort of pinpoint those periods?
Yeah. Even then, like sometimes it feels like, especially beyond the ruthless aggression era, what marks the start and end of an era just feels so much more grey. Like it's kind of hard to pinpoint where something starts and ends. Like for example, like I don't. What's your favorite era? Just off the top of your head.
Oh God, I hate to admit it's probably like the early part of the ruthless aggression era.
That's calm. Nothing wrong with that. I have a soft spot for that as well. But the thing is, where did the ruthless aggression era end?
I feel like, as someone who probably, I feel like I dipped out during the ruthless aggression. So for me, my prediction, and from what I understand, I'm not like completely blind on it, but I feel like it must have been somewhere about around the time that they progressed to PG. No,
That's the thing, though, right? It feels like if you look at what we were talking about before, which is what marks an era and the trends that you find in it. 2002, when the ruthless aggression era started, that's a long way product-wise from 2006.
yeah,
Things like the live sex celebration, the midlife crisis of DX, Vince McMahon loving cocks. That is not the same era as the SmackDown 6.
yeah, and like that's the era that I sort of liked, the SmackDown 6 era. So, because I don't know, like I know. For me, I feel like the ruthless aggression era didn't really start when the point they said the words that ruthless aggression was said by John Cena. I feel like it was like that was the point it was conceptualized.
Yeah, it was kind of like they were trying to get a thing going.
That's the bar they want to aim for. It's like, there's this thing called ruthless aggression. Let's go for it. Let's, whatever it is, let's make it about that. This new tagline. We'll work towards it, and then like I said, that was almost like the lull, and then like we got to a point where it peaked. It's like, okay, yeah, we've reached ruthless aggression. This is what it looks like.
Here it is. Pull the top down. It's the reign of terror. There it is. Yeah. Like, even at the Attitude Era, like it kind of followed the same angle you said it did as well, where it kind of like you have the whole Vince on TV saying, essentially killing kayfabe, and that's a very defined start of the era, and then the very defined end of the era, which is him shaking hands with Austin. You do have. I want to say that the peak of that was when Stone Cold got hit by the fucking car, which kind of makes me realize that Austin wasn't there for that much of the Attitude Era.
No,
but that's different.
Because some people will say, what is it? There's different like arguments. This is one that is debated online. Like, when did it start? Did it start with the Vince McMahon character, or was that the peak?
I think that was the peak more than anything. I we'll come onto this when we talk about those transitionary eras. But I do feel like, as much as it started in my eyes with that little broadcast before the show, what would become the Attitude Era was there beforehand. When you had like leading up into, when you had the Raw is War stuff, when you were leading into like that late 1997, leading up to the Montreal Screwjob, it did feel like a bit of a similar show. And you can kind of see all the pieces there. And then only when that Screwjob happened, that's when they're like, let's make this gel now.
Because I get it. Because for me, like when I imagine peak Attitude Era, in my head, what I envision is like, weirdly, my go-to is actually the Hardcore Championship and the shenanigans around the Hardcore Champion.
Yeah.
That to me is like my, like, if I was going to take a snapshot of the Attitude Era, it'd be something like that, to like sort of define something that like really was like the chaotic like energy of the Attitude Era. Like, people just going absolutely mental and just like the most insane shenanigans. Between that and maybe, more Stone Cold stunnering people.
Yeah.
But that'd be like a GIF. like just people getting everyone in the ring gets done. It's like something like that.
Just the sound of Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
Whereas when you say like, okay, if I'll do this for like each one. This my snapshot of obviously the era before that would be just a picture of Hulk Hogan. Like it would just be Hogan.
No, you're missing out on the best one, the new generation.
Bret Hart, like it'd just be an image of Bret Hart. I don't know.
That close up on Bret Hart down the hallway, and then the little kid goes, "Get him, champ!" My new favorite.
Or the Hart Foundation, maybe.
Yeah.
Like an image of the Hart Foundation.
Bret getting super kicked in his wheelchair.
I think my ruthless aggression would be like something mental. So again, because I want to keep the pace of like where it was at its peak when I thought it was getting really crazy. It would be like crazy shit like, I don't know, Brock Lesnar suplexing Big Show through the ring, or like, and the ring collapsing.
Yeah. When
they were really getting ridiculous. And I think I'd want to choose moments from like the weekly show rather than just...
Yeah, that was what people subscribed to. Feels weird using the word subscribed. I mean, if you want to say about an actual start of Ruthless Aggression, how about when Brock won the title from The Rock?
Yeah.
I feel it was like a nice cut off from he gets rid of the past so he can go make the Scorpion King. And then I think he'd already made it at that time. And then you have the new young guy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
In terms of the peak of Ruthless Aggression, it does come down to like when it did end. Like it doesn't have to be bang in the middle, but it needs to be when it was like trundling along like happily. I don't want to say the Reign of Terror, but I do remember the Reign of Terror.
Oh, I do.
Quite
certainly.
Weirdly fondly.
That's absolutely just unforgivable.
If you're not watching the product and someone says the Reign of Terror, part of me just goes, "Oh, the Reign of Terror." Like,
is it just because you imagine him squashing Goldberg? Is that all you sort of remember? Is that like your middle finger, or is it the Booker T part?
So, am I racist, or do I just hate Bill Goldberg?
Or are you just that much of a Bret Hart stan?
We know that's not true. I like Bret, but I'm not a stan. I don't know. I think it's just one of those things when rose tinted glasses. I would never watch it again, and I'd be hard pressed to go back to some of the pay-per-views. But it's all just part of what you remember from the product back then. You know, like I can't truly hate it.
I didn't like it. I genuinely didn't like it. I think that's why I slowly lost interest. Like I think we've been through this. My therapy of why I hated that era, why it was like planting the seeds of me leaving. You know, the desecration of the character of Kane, the Reign of Terror, and just the absolute. Well, I felt like initially, I think I really didn't like the Triple H Shawn Michaels rivalry. It felt so fake to me. It was like. It's almost like you were planning to do this all along. It's why it's one of those feuds. I think reflection of that is why I don't like the way some things are done now, and like predictable feuds. Like it's why I didn't love this Rhea Liv thing, because I'm like, why is this gonna obviously end with Rhea on top?
Yeah.
Why does it need to end like that? I kind of hated it.
It's a bit cynical, isn't it? You know where it's going, but it's just it doesn't end. Except with the Triple H Shawn Michaels thing. It did feel like it was always going to be Shawn Michaels rises above, gets back on the mountain. He never does.
No.
It's Batista who dethrones Triple H, which is kind of a nice twist. But why did it take what?
He had his heroic comeback, and then they do a fake out reunion, and then
he loses the belt a month later,
and then Triple H just wins anyway, and it's like, oh, this is not a hero's tale. This is not a hero's tale at all.
This is
a tyrant who now runs the place, and we love him for it.
Thank you, Mr. Tyrant. We're talking about the Ruthless Aggression. I'm probably going to go on a limb and agree with you. That's my favorite. It's just nostalgia.
Yeah,
blind nostalgia. No matter how many positives and negatives there are for whatever era you want to talk about, it always just comes down to what you remember and when it was somewhat real to you. That's Ruthless Aggression. I don't know whether I want to go before or after. I say we go, because I'm really interested in talking about those little things in the middle, those juicy little bits that fall down the back of the sofa.
Before that,
That's an
just before that,
awful,
I think we should
awful
maybe,
allegory.
because I feel like we're like teasing defining each era as well. So I think, because as obviously for me, I drop out. So would you say when does the ruthless aggression era end? I think, because I feel like you're way more well informed than I am to sort of define that ending.
Part of me wants to say Mania 22, or actually maybe the end of 2005. I would even argue that maybe WrestleMania 21 when Batista and Cena win those belts. Because the product is so different, say, WrestleMania 20, compared to what it is after that. When you got people like Christian and Chris Jericho fighting for the belt, Eric Bischoff's out the door, you got no Paul Heyman, and now the people who were defining changing everything, like John Cena in the Ruthless Aggression era, he is the guy now. It just feels like what comes after the party. It's not a hangover. It's just really awkward television, followed by the death of Chris Benoit. It feels wrong to say, but it'll either be that or the death of Chris Benoit. That's what ends the Ruthless Aggression era. And
Yeah.
the reason for that is literally just because as soon as that happens, PG era.
They had to save the product.
Yeah. Get the wholesome shit in.
It's for the kids. Kids for the kids.
Get Snoop Dogg out. Yay. Do anything for a paycheck.
Oh god, you're gonna make me. I wanted to leave him out for a bit because we're gonna get onto him.
Snoop Dogg.
No, our mascot.
Oh god damn it!
But like in terms of just getting someone out for the kids, like that's what it felt like. Ended up Rhea Ripley. Like, I'm sorry, but the man literally did a drive-by appearance. Like, quite literally on a bike. I like to envision that he like was given the exact time to turn up, and he like didn't even get off his bike. He arrived to the arena on his bike, rolled through. They're like, "Hey, Mark," he just threw his jacket off. He's like, "Where am I going?" They're like, "Oh, yeah, that way to the arena." And he's like, "Cool, do the dong." Not his dong, the dong.
So literally, just like he comes in, he's on the bike. He comes into the arena, does not stop once. The guy in gorilla position or the production truck hears the bike. Call the match. It's over. It's over. She gets to the top, and he's still driving round the ring, round. The only time he stops is when they do the hand up, and Rhea's there, just like, I didn't know this was going to happen.
No, she didn't. She was like, the fuck? And they're like, yeah, the check cleared, so I turned up.
Yeah. I better shine this up for the big man.
Is that anyway? I'm gonna go record my podcast in a bit. And he fucking just left. And he just left. Like, because did you see him backstage afterwards?
I think I actually did.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to ruin the illusion.
But
he wasn't there drinking tequila with The Rock before hopping in the car. but
drink and drive, kids. Drink and drive like Rocky.
Yeah, that's where the stubble comes from, man.
So you got what? So then PG, how long did that last? Because that lasted a while, right?
I mean, the product being PG, that was what? That only ended last year, right? So what? 15, 16 years?
Jesus Christ.
But you wouldn't consider that whole time an era. You have the transition into the PG era. I want to say that was until 2012, 2013.
Okay. I've watched bits of this now on the RIP, the WWE network.
It's one less subscription. It's $9.99 staying in my bank account.
Thank you for that, by the way. That was a good year of
You're welcome. You own
free
Netflix now.
Can't share Netflix, mate. They're hot on that shit. Hot on that one.
You planned this, haven't you?
This was the plan all along. Whole point in the whole podcast. Because I admittedly missed quite gladly. I missed a lot of like what people consider the Super Cena era.
2010-ish.
Yeah, I missed a lot of Super Cena.
It does feel kind of weird. being on his side right now because I was there for those peak Super Cena years. That was when I was kind of like in the online wrestling community before it took off, before you had your What Cultures, your Wrestle Talks, all that stuff. And it was just weird people in their basement trying to groom me. And he was despised. Like, you have no idea how bad it was in online discourse. Obviously, at the live shows, it was a little bit mixed because fucking he's so charismatic. How can you hate him? But those years when he was burying the Nexus on his own and everyone under the sun, he would not give a chance. Alex Riley.
I can't actually see this thing. This make fun. I'm gonna put the subtitle struggles with Steven's weird rugby ball bottle cap opener.
If you don't want it, I'll take it back.
It's just,
Maybe you just can't see it because we're talking about John Cena.
I'm so glad I opened it at that point.
You can keep the bottle cap.
Anyway, so Super Cena burying everybody and being just because I think what's funny is I think I equate this very similar to Charlotte Flair. I've watched so much over the years, and it's so funny because I reckon of his 16, I reckon I've seen about 10 max, and that's maybe a stretch of John Cena's title wins. Like, I'm actually gaining a title.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's 10. I don't know if maybe 10. Charlotte Flair, I think I've seen her win 2.
How many has she won now? Is it like 16?
No. Nah.
Surely.
It's not 6. It's somewhere like 12 or something
It's
stupid.
ridiculous.
Like,
she's been on the main roster for what?
I'm
8 years?
I'm just throwing it out there because I don't really know. But let's just fact check ourselves now. Don't have to do it in the edit. Charlotte Flair title reigns.
Can you overlay this with the...
No.
It's more than 16, isn't it?
It's 14.
Oh,
So it was more than 12, but Jesus, how? How is it 14?
Bow down to the queen.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts.
Her reign of terror was worse than Triple H's and John Cena's combined.
Because hers wasn't so much like reign of terror, so much like she just doesn't lose in certain situations. She just keeps beating everybody.
Yeah. It was like when Bayley finally won her first belt. Or was it... I feel like being exposed as a fraud now. She didn't lose it at WrestleMania. She lost it at fucking Elimination Chamber. You can't have Charlotte lose at Mania.
Isn't it like what I realized was like everybody that I've seen on the women's roster that had a title reign that I haven't seen, I'm pretty sure they've all must have lost it to Charlotte Flair. That's the only way that can work.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, I never saw Rhea's first reign. Did she lose to Charlotte Flair?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think she might have lost to Bianca. But
No.
because Rhea only came to the main roster in 2020.
Bianca gets hers from... No, she gets it from Becky. No, maybe that's when she has it for a year.
Well, Charlotte did win the belt from Rhea. It was the NXT title, though.
Oh, does that count?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
It's the principle. The principle that matters. And that's that Charlotte Flair was so sick of winning things on the main roster. She went back to NXT to win the belt. Just because fuck you.
I'm going to call out now. This is our first tangent of the year. Loving life. Women's Revolution. When's that? 2014?
Yeah. It's a sustained period. 14 to 16.
Cool.
Are we counting this as like its own... I don't think it's an era, but it's a tangent of an era. It's probably the best part of the era.
I was going to say, because
14 to 16
era defining, because
awful.
I feel like there's like a... What's good about all these era defining things is like something about wrestling changes as well. Like something almost progressive happens to wrestling. Maybe it's the way in which they storytell, or well, it's mostly gonna be about the way in which they storytell, but like I think the way the product is presented and their choices, like like so for women massively, like the women's revolution is like it was finally treating the women like the guys rather than just like a secondary product or it's still like a side product.
Don't call them divs and give them a tramp stamp belt. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like no, they have feuds just like the guys. They can main event just like the guys. They can do everything the guys could do. So let's stop treating them like they're secondary.
I'd say it came in 3 phases. It came in that first wave of people like Paige and AJ on the main roster. So Paige came up from NXT the night after Mania 30.
Yeah, I seen it. I watched it.
And then kind of in the background there, you had the 4 horsewomen in NXT. And that's where it happened. And it's when those women came up, that's when it all happened. So you're looking towards like 2015, 16, around then. And compared to everything else that was going on then, you look at WrestleMania 32, you had it was a triple threat match, wasn't it? Sasha, Charlotte, Bailey.
Yeah.
And then what else was on the show? Tyrannical Triple H versus Roman. Undertaker versus Shane.
I actually haven't watched that Mania. I've got into like the lead up of it and I haven't watched it. Because Mania's a lot, okay? I'm just going to say...
That was the longest Mania, I think. Well,
Mania's are so... I think I binge watched a few Manias randomly before the network went down. Well, there's some random Nitro episodes.
Good shit.
That was silly because Mania's they're all there. Already on Netflix. But yeah, I don't know, Mania's are long. And back to the era defining.
Yes, yeah.
So
we nipped that tangent well and truly in the bud. We did well there.
But it was about the women, and that's sort of like where we're at. Like, if we're not saying it's, I count it because we're saying like the PG era, like in itself, because it was weird. The PG era, like, if PG lasted as long as it did, then it almost has like mini eras. So I'd say like the women's revolution being part of like the long tenure of the PG era, product of it.
This is it though. I don't think by that time we were in the PG era. We were in a PG product. I think you'd define it as the reality era. Or the network era.
But did the reality era, did that not start with CM Punk and the pipe bomb? Which would have been way, way before, right?
2011. But maybe you could argue that.
Because I was going to get onto that, like the whole, because there's like the reality and then which still pushing my meta era concept. We're getting meta. Product is very meta now. Mm-hmm. And with that, we're redefining kayfabe.
I hate that. I think you have a point. I'm mulling it over in my head a little bit because
we'll get into it when we're done with this bit. I have a bit of a piece on why I feel like we can redefine kayfabe, but we'll get into it. But the reality era, like, only again, I'm sort of echoing sort of things I've seen from retrospectives. But yeah, because I never really witnessed it, I've watched it now. But like, CM Punk's pipe bomb sort of like really hit home that they do use real life situations and real life, I suppose, almost like dialogue and feed it into the product. And CM Punk took it to like its lengths in that moment. And from that point on, they're like, okay, we're going to do this now then.
Sort of. This does tie into the fact that the Summer of Punk wasn't as good as people remember it. But it did kind of feel like that whole angle where it was leading from him doing that pipe bomb to him actually leaving. No one thought he was going to win that belt. That's why it was so special. And you're spot on in that being the reality. But after that, what really reality-wise was there?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't watching. I wasn't there.
No one fucking was. After that, I don't think there was much in that same vein. This is how much I enjoyed 2011. I couldn't get enough of Capital Punishment. which for some reason isn't on Netflix.
I don't know what that is.
It's the one where the main event was John Cena versus R-Truth for the belt.
They actually faced each other for the belt.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the poster had, like the old school American Uncle Sam kind of photos. It was a caricature of John Cena, R-Truth on the right, and then Barack Obama in a referee shirt in the middle.
You're joking. I can't wait to put this graphic up if it's real.
I hope it's real. Otherwise, AI is going to need to do something.
Otherwise, you've just made this up, or you've got some weird, false memory.
How would that happen? That's scary. But if we move past that, then I think you kind of get to 2014 to maybe 2017. We've kind of discussed that. I think once you got Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement, the problem moves along a bit. Once they get him out of the way by injuring him, then it changes. Then
Dawn of the Universe. That's when they really started pushing
WWE
Universe.
Awful. Hate it. So glad they don't call us that anymore.
They do.
No.
What are you talking about? Corey Graves does. I'm pretty sure. And Michael Cole. Maggle. Yeah, they definitely still say it. You're just not paying attention to the commentary. I think the wrestlers don't as much.
It feels they kind of target us a little bit less, really.
They don't care about us.
Good. I don't want to be fucking lumped in with the universe.
I'm not the universe. I am a person. Universe is scary, man.
Don't have an existential crisis.
I think I reach a point where I don't think there has been official terms for certain eras, past what's 2020, aside from the very horrible era of no crowd.
Lockdown wrestling, the Thunderdome, or
the Thunderdome,
where you'd have picture of fucking Chris Benoit in the crowd because no one vetted it.
People are assholes.
Yeah, like at Leeds United when you could pay to have your own cutout. Someone put fucking Osama bin Laden, who, as we knew 9 years earlier, had been compromised to a permanent end. John Cena told us, didn't he?
I forgot about that. That was one of the things you told me in season 1. John Cena.
Every time I hear it, that's maybe weirdly patriotic.
That we got him.
Do you think that kind of helped in building this perception of John Cena as a military man?
Yeah, I sort of forgot about that. The
It was almost like he was there.
Wasn't that for a movie? Was that not
The Marine?
The Marine, yeah. That's why he became a bit more military. Before he was a Vanilla Ice-esque aggressive rapper, racist, and then went down the hustle, loyalty, respect route, and then he was just a Marine.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah,
not too dissimilar from our good friend Mark, who went from mortician to actual dead person to biker.
But instead of respecting the Marines, he respects the cops really, really severely.
I've got to throw it back because we didn't talk about the fact that Mark didn't get booed when he did his drive by.
We're getting political.
He didn't
It's
get
the woke
booed.
Smarks. Oh no!
But it's funny because what was your reaction? Did you watch it live or did you watch it the next day?
I watched it on the train going to Birmingham.
Did you know about it or did it?
Yeah,
I know. When what about the Hogan bit?
Oh yeah. As soon as I heard about that, I was watching it at work.
All right,
showing it to people at work.
It was a surprise to me when it happened. Isn't the music hit? I got excited. I was like, yeah.
This is a banger. How can you not get excited when you hear that?
And then reality hit. I'm talking. This is within 5 seconds, and you can ask Olivia because she was looking at me jarred, and because I literally went from yeah, I am. I was actually wait, fuck off. Literally, it's like they lured me in with the music. It's like a form of hypnotism. You're like, hey, is that song you love? I am a real American. And then he comes out. I'm like, oh wait, fuck this guy. I hate this guy.
do I know who's a real American? Oh.
Oh wait, I was like, oh god, and he comes, and then I noticed, I was like, oh wait, he's getting booed, and I was like, yes, and it was like, did he get booed? I was like, and I was like, these aren't Dom Mysterio boos.
No.
These aren't your Dom Mysterio.
This ain't even go away heat. This is we fucking despise you as a human being here.
This is get out of here.
Your beer sucks. Fuck off.
And I predicted that he would start with, let me tell you something, brother. I don't know why, because I was like, let me tell you something, brother, I'm not a racist. And then he actually started with, let me tell you something, and I burst out laughing. and then the pathetic fucking... It's like, just poor Jimmy with the flag.
Oh, poor Jimmy.
Because I can imagine in his head, he's like, oh, I knew this was a bad idea. They're like,
He told me not to.
And in his head, they're like, do it, Jimmy. Do it for the nostalgia. They'll love you, Jimmy. For the legends, Jimmy.
You won't get a pop without me, brother. They'll hate you. They won't remember who
He's
you
there
are.
like, just wave the flag. Just wave the flag. It'll soon be over. It'll soon be over. Oh, God, why am I with this guy?
It should have been a bit like, have you ever seen Life of Brian?
What?
You know the bit when, fucking, what's his name? When Caesar's kind of reading the names off of it.
Yeah.
And then Biggest Dickus has to pull him so, let me handle this, Hulk. We've got real American beer. And he just put him up and the booze just get louder and louder.
Oh, man.
But this isn't the first time. Like, people are suggesting that maybe they did throw Hogan under the bus. Because at Mania 37, 4 years ago, it was 2021, he got booed out of the building there as well. Except it was in a thunderstorm. So, like, maybe they could have been confused. Maybe they just don't like the weather.
It's weird. Why do they do the beer deal? Why do they even do it?
You've seen the ring, Matt.
Like, I'm sort of thinking, is this their slow way of like trying to? Because like he's on like a Legends deal, so they basically have to keep paying him forever. But I'm like, are they finding like a loophole? Like, listen, you're not pulling. We can't put you over, not even as a heel. So we're gonna keep making you beer, but we're not gonna put you on TV no more. It's over. Hulkamania has died. It's over. Terry. No, Terry, don't tear a t-shirt. Fuck's sake, Terry, get out. No, don't tell me something.
I'm not your brother.
We're not related, Terry, get out. You know.
Do you think you would have immediately? Do you think you would have cheered more if he came out to the TNA version of the NWO theme? Do you think you would have just like that would have been a much more realistic interpretation of Hulk Hogan in 2025? Over the hill, shit, black and white, just because the colours drained out of the world for him.
Well, did you see on? I don't know. I know you don't actually look at the Smart story, but
I do.
I shared. I posted the Bronson Reed's tweet. That is the only capacity at which I would accept Hulk Hogan appearing. Like in that segment, if just out of nowhere Bronson Reed just interrupts, just goes boom, drags his ass to the ring and just sits him with like 10 tsunamis until Hogan actually needs to be taken to hospital.
He would have been over as fuck.
That would have been the greatest start to the year you could have given all of the Hulkamaniacs.
It's one of those moments where you need the old school visual. Oh yeah, he's killing that no good Hulk Hogan.
Like we do the whole segment, like make everyone have to enjoy him trying to talk, and just as he's about to tear, then like all of a sudden, boom! Oh my god! And it just fucking stomps him in, grabs him by the foot, just drags him, throws him into the ring, and the best part is the security come out and they just watch. They don't get into the ring. They're just like.
Jimmy Hart just immediately puts the flag down, starts waving a fucking Black Lives Matter flag straight up there.
And Michael Cole's like, why is anyone doing it? And then Pat McAfee's like, just let it happen, Michael. Let it happen.
They're up on
It's
the
what
table
people want.
again.
This is what the people need.
You talk about the red and yellow. He's red from blood and he's pissed himself.
Oh my god. But yeah, that would have been great. Hogan's era was, defined by a reign of terror.
Yeah, people loved that Reign of Terror for a while though.
Because it was the first.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not counting San Martino because
no.
there was a roster of like 5 people. like, and like there was a hierarchy and no one was ever reaching the top of the mountain. That's sort of just how it worked back then.
Yeah.
He was their favourite freak, the top.
If anyone is an expert on San Martino and that era, then could you pick that up, please? But I would genuinely be interested in having them on because I'd love to learn more about that.
I've tried. I said like not tried, but like I've looked into like I don't know what that era's called, like the golden era, the silver age, black
Wind Rush.
black and white wrestling. I don't know, but like because obviously it was so heavily like sort of determined by like availability of like arena access and like it was still like the sort of traveling show was nowhere near like.
Would that have been the Territories era?
Yeah, massively. This was like
it's just what we called it.
Yeah, and I think from what I understand, like that it was more them just trying to make money from like the talent that they had. So when I say there's like 5 people, like, I'm not joking. Like isn't like similar to like how the live shows were. They were just running the same matches over and over again.
Yeah,
and like you know how the live show goes here. Like they count those towards wins and like defenses.
Yeah,
and like that's sort of like how his ran
it's
and that era.
Part of the
like,
reason why, as much as John Cena, he wants to get that 17th title to win the book. He's still got like 60 more reigns to go if he really wants to beat Ric Flair. Ric Flair has about 70 title wins at this point.
Yeah, because people, that's the thing, people cheat and count the like, because in those days, like, they would intentionally, like, they would fabricate wins, they would, like, make up matches and things that never happened.
That's how Bill Goldberg's streak.
And they also, like, would, like, pretend things didn't happen. Like, they would do things like, if it was, like, in his hometown, like, have him have lost the last one, and then so he could win it for a bigger pop in the hometown. Because they've seen the match 100 times over. So it's like, okay, well, rather than have him defend and win, let's have him like win the title back. But then they would also cut that from the record and be like, oh no, he never lost for like 100 years. Man had the belt. He was always seen as the champion consistently for years. So like, I don't know, those years were a bit different. It was more like a traveling show, and like I said, he was probably he didn't wrestle nearly as many different wrestlers as people did nowadays. Like the amount of opponents they would come across.
And then naturally you come into, I suppose, it feels like the only way to really signify the start of this era is WrestleMania 1. Like that, the moment you get to WrestleMania 1, it feels like, in a way, the start of WWE canon.
Yeah.
Like, you got the good old days back when men were men, and you could harass people endlessly and no one would care. But then you get
the product was, being redefined by that, chest shitting, sex trafficking, dirty, molesting piece of shit.
That was like a slap in the face hearing that. I didn't expect that at all.
I don't want to call him by name. We can't just call him by name.
No.
If I'm going to be giving him his flowers, I need to like match it with an.
Don't give him his flowers.
Well, I'm saying, he redefined the product for what as we know it now. That's sort of what we're touching on, and like, the territory stealing. Now it's like I'm going on a fucking promo.
When he
territory stealing.
No good son of a bitch.
Murder covering. Yeah, I'm going there. Anyway, yeah, to that more dramatic and taking the, I suppose, yeah, like I said, the structure of wrestling and how they put matches together, had champions, whatever. He still did he basically mirrored the San Martino thing with Hogan.
Yep.
And then obviously that reached its end, and we have even that defining moment when like the Hogan era ended, and the product had a lull, and in a panic they put the belt back on Hogan, and people didn't want Hogan to have the belt. They didn't want that.
I mean, obviously,
we have the moment.
Mania 9 was what 8 years after Mania 1, as these things happen. But in the middle of that, I know that era is defined as the Hulk Hogan era. There were so many little chops and changes in there. It would always come back to Hogan, but in a way, even the Ultimate Warrior was a bit of a failed thing. That's not disrespect. He had one of the biggest WrestleMania moments ever when he won that belt.
Mm-hmm.
But then, what was it? Less than a year later, and he wasn't even in the company because he was fucking extorting chest shitter for money. He, Randy Savage.
Well, as I say, you can never discredit Macho Man and Macho and was it the little tag team?
The Mega
The Mega Powers. I must call
Which-
the Superpowers. I was like the Superpowers, no, the Mega Powers.
No, if we're doing it in 2025, because he was actually wearing a shirt that said this, it was the MAGA Powers.
The Mega Powers. Jesus.
I am also really sorry. I stand by that LA crowd for what they did. Because he heard himself getting booed and he tried to name drop people. It's like, I've had some great partners over the years. The Macho Man, oh yeah. And it's like, but the best of all is never. Boo! They
You
bided
guys.
his time. They waited. They didn't disrespect Macho, even though they knew what was going on. They knew they'd have another chance to boo. A more appropriate time.
You know how we said before how he should be an Always Sunny character? That felt like an It Was Always Sunny moment. Like, I can't lie. Like, it was just like, fuck it, just plug my beer and go.
I'm going to say the N-word!
I'm going to say the N-word. He did that one. Oh, I have such a great screenshot of Narco. I was really mad. I think I sent it to the wrestling chat. It was like, where it mentions, like, someone actually talking about the booing situation. Yes, we're getting into it. And it was just this one line. It was like, yeah, after recording went public of him repeatedly saying the N-word to his daughter.
Yeah, you're not dating a black person.
In this year, like, by 2018, all was forgiven. And I was like, you sure about that? You sure about that? Pretty sure the black community never got over that.
Yeah.
Black people have not forgotten.
Isn't there someone you're forgetting to ask?
But I think to give them credit, what they mean by that is Hogan was then like they sort of kept him off for about 3 years and then brought him back on in terms of WWE in terms of making appearances.
He was profitable again.
They're like, we've got a very small racist crowd that also will always forgive Hogan. So that's
always on the east and west coast. Sometimes you're in the Bible Belt.
Some of them agreed. Some of them agreed.
The red states, they can be red and yellow states.
Moving away from that guy, back to the other guy that turned up that didn't get booed, who also,
Mean Mark
heavily endorsed Trump to the point.
That's where we were.
Him and the Brothers of Destruction both endorsed Trump, and no one cares. We had this funny idea of trying to define, because he touched so many of these eras that we have mentioned. What was Mark doing in each era? So let's pick an era and let's talk about how Mark defined that era with whatever the fuck he was doing. Because it really, when you sort of, if you just do like a random jump, you say like, okay, let's start in the fucking like the. Well, what was he in? He would have been.
No, he started in the golden era, like the
last legs.
I sound like Kermit ones. In the latter stage of the golden era. He came in like Survivor Series.
Because I was like, is it not New Generation?
No. New Generation would have been. I'm going to say 94.
Yeah. So
post Hoagie.
Yeah. So no, he did face Hogan, didn't he? So
yeah. He did the sit up in a body bag, which is so hilarious.
So what was Mark doing? Well, let's say he started off and he was just a mortician. Man was just a mortician walking out. It was Paul Bearer from the start.
No, it was Brother Love.
Brother Love, yeah. I was like
weird combo, but
in my head I was like, was it Bearer? No, it wasn't Bearer from the start. I went to say Bearer. I was like, no. In my head I was like, I see something. I see a man who also looks like the wrong color to what he should be, but not dead.
It's like Paul Bearer is Oppen. Brother Love is Barbie. And the Undertaker is Barbenheimer.
No.
Oh yes, the bombs.
But so yeah, we start in the Hogan era, the golden Hogan era, because he was both golden and
The hot dog man.
the hot dog man, the maniac.
So, I mean, it feels wrong to rate him in each era because he brings up comedy gold each
We
time.
don't need to rate him. I think it's just like, what was he doing? What was he at?
You don't want to do an Undertaker tier list. You don't want to sell your soul to tier list making.
How quickly can I find a tier listing?
Oh no, we actually are going to do it. We're going mainstream, guys. We've got tier lists.
It's only for Mark. Only for the mean Mark. We're mean to Mark. That's the problem. We're so mean to Mark. We're Marks who are mean to Mark. God, I'm gonna start making bars about this.
Undertaker diss track.
I could probably create one from content of us talking about him over the last 3 years, nearly.
I challenge you to it.
Well, I have time. I don't have time. Do you know how long the editing takes me so long? That's why our reels are so sporadic.
Sorry. If we go chronological, because there's a lot of Undertakers out there. Like, say out there, like, be careful. There could be an Undertaker living in your street. It's always going to be. It's the grey like leggings and gloves, and
with the cut into triangle sort of ending.
Yeah, for some weird fucking reason, looking like what's his name, Fred Flintstone.
Right, so we're gonna go standard SABCD. I need to get some random pictures. I'll get the pictures as we go. So where we're gonna put that in the tier listing. Well, let's just say what 19.
It's 1990 to 1994.
1990 Undertaker. That's what
the original.
I'm googling this as like
also known as Dumbass Undertaker.
Show the picture. I'm laughing. It's the fucking tie. The tie is massive.
No.
He looks ridiculous.
He looks like an overgrown schoolboy. Which makes sense because of his weird obsession with school. Oh, we're going to school now, boy!
Yeah. Oh, he's going to old school.
Oh, right. He's going to school him.
So where are we going to put the big tie? Where are we putting the big tie?
Oh, big tie deserves a big rank in my opinion.
It got a big laugh. So I reckon a B.
Yeah.
He's going in the B. Big time Mark is going into B. So Golden Era Undertaker.
B for boy.
For Big Evil. Come on.
B for a boneyard match.
Jesus Christ.
We are repurposing this. This is not the Smark's podcast anymore. I say we just triple down and make this the Mark cast.
Hopefully, that guy. I'm about to pitch making an appearance on their podcast, but I can't name the other guy on the podcast other than the Undertaker. But the guy who actually produced the podcast, shout out to you. You're doing all the work. We know. Hopefully, he does some research and finds us.
That
and
comes
we can
from
rival.
the editor and producer of our podcast, by the way.
Oh God. So then let's era jump. So then we go to the new generation era
when he's wearing the purple
taker. No, that's like I don't consider that purple. It's sort of like how they had that very 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 dark blue the Batman used to wear. They couldn't get black ink because it was too expensive. Yeah. So it was dark blue. Maybe they couldn't. It was too expensive to keep making ring gear that was like no. I'm chatting shit. I'm very sure it's just like some Phantom-esque stuff. But yeah,
I will be nice about this because I do kind of find it impressive when they had that really weird fake Undertaker thing, and they made it so obvious which was the real one just because he came out in purple, and he was slightly taller.
I just got the worst image you've ever seen. It's so bad. Where does he looks like? He looks like a weird dark wizard.
Why has he got a cape?
It looks like a cape, but that is actually just a jacket. I'm putting that one in though. That's the image we're using for this one. I feel like they were sort of in a weird place with him. I think both like canonically as a character, because like yes, he was beating people, but he was beating like shit people. Like, wasn't that? When was the fucking gorilla, whatever his name is, monsoon fight?
The Gorilla Monsoon fight?
Yeah, he fought Gorilla Monsoon, and he hates it. He hated that match. I do watch the podcast, guys. I'm talking directly to Mark and the other guy. I've had all the time in the world to Google his name. I'm so horrible. They're gonna
You get us on that podcast.
Those British guys are so fucking mean. Like, fuck them. Yeah, and Mark like pretty much shits on him. He was like, yeah, he could not wrestle. He was only there because he was huge as fuck.
Gorilla Monsoon?
Not Gorilla Monsoon, no.
Oh, the fake Undertaker.
No, what? Oh my god, what's his name?
King Kong Bundy.
Not King Kong.
Giant Gonzalez.
Giant Gonzalez.
Were you confusing Gorilla Monsoon and Giant Gonzalez?
Because he had fur. He had fur. He had fake fur. He looked like a gorilla.
Why is there a picture of Andre the Giant next to him?
I don't know. That's just Google. Yeah, Giant Gonzalez. He was. When was that match?
1993, WrestleMania 9.
Oh, so
it's one of the reasons why it's one of the worst WrestleManias. Same night as Hogan looked around and said, "Fuck Bret Hart, it's my belt."
The WrestleMania. Yeah, he was in grey in that one. He had the grey gloves. It was all about the glove and the tie switch up. He always wore the same colour shirts, black. But
yeah, he got rid of the silly tie.
But yeah, no, I was hoping that was in the same generation. But yeah, no. So new generation Taker, because I was classing that as like when they were just sort of just throwing big people at him and just trying to create interesting sort of rivalries between him and things that made the sort of giant fight kaiju-esque shit they were trying to do with him. Let's be honest, it's half the reason Kane existed.
Yeah, the only thing that makes a kaiju fight better is when they know each other and there's stakes involved.
Yeah.
But what came after this would have been 1994, I want to say, and I think it was Ted DiBiase, who I don't know, because Ted DiBiase brought him in his team, didn't he, in Survivor Series? And it was like, "I've got the Undertaker."
Okay.
I can't do the laugh.
That moment, I'll throw it in.
Thanks. And then I think it was Paul Bearer came out. No.
Loving these impressions.
You can have him.
This is great. This is great work. I should have screen recorded this. It's fine.
But yeah, then you have the thing where he's like, "Oh no, he's wearing purple now. He's a little bit taller." And that's how you knew he was the real Undertaker. Not just because of traditional storytelling methods. I don't know a damn thing about this era, because this is the one where it didn't last that long and it ended with him getting murdered by Yokozuna.
So let's put that all down, because that also led to him just getting like his face fucked up, and I don't think even he looks back at these times very well. So let's put this in D tier for just dead man walking. Yeah, I'm gonna make an Undertaker pun for each fucking letter. So jumping forward, then we have then we jump to the Attitude Era. Then
it would have been
things get funky.
It would. You had the little bit where he won his second title first, where he beat Sid.
But this is supposed to be in line with each era. So going from
very true.
Golden
very
Era,
true. My bad.
New Generation. So the next Attitude Era. So we're doing a massive amount of time hopping. Like
I got way too into the
things happen.
aspect of things. Yeah.
So this is where things get a bit funny, because Mark went through some transitions during the Attitude Era.
Yeah, not just marital status wise.
He went from crucifying people to coming out on a bike.
Fuck. He didn't even start with.
He started a cult, for fuck's sake.
But keeping with the times, they had to make it real. And Vince was like, "Mark, you're taking this too far.
Things got real crazy.
You're not really dead, Mark."
Not really. So I'm just going to see what happens when you.
I could understand.
Era Undertaker.
That's my daughter, Mark. Don't take this too far. You can shit on her chest all you like. Just don't crucify her.
The images you get, they're all over the place. You get pure Prince of Darkness, where he looks like he's trying to, be like a bat.
Oh, it's so silly.
You get my favorite. Every time I see these sort of pictures of him in this specific one, I get the your voice of, "I hate you, Vince. What's my wife?
This belt means nothing to me."
He said, well, your words, he stopped caring and he just got fat.
It's coming from the voice of experience. He did. Yeah, it is kind of sad though, because like fucking the end when it turned into corporate ministry, that was his best theme song.
Yeah. What? It was the most gothic he ever was.
Yeah.
It was like really tapping into okay, so you're a mortician, dead man thing. Now you're just the most goth guy we could think of. When someone thinks goth, we just think. But that's a guy 16 want to see in the mosh pit.
16-year-old me coming down for Christmas dinner after being in my room all day. He's got a top knot and everything.
Top knot, the goatee, the fucking cape, the leather.
Right, I'm gonna level with people. If we get 500 views on this video, you can tell I'm being something serious if it's 500.
We've hit 500 on something, have we not?
That was a short bow.
Okay.
If we hit 500 views on this YouTube video, the whole thing, I will shave my beard to be like his.
You will rock full corporate goatee Undertaker.
Whenever I'm meeting people at work, I'll just be like, "Father, what of you of me?"
I was going to say, in defense of one of my favorite on the roster right now, people accuse Damian Priest.
I knew it'd be Damien.
Bisexual Undertaker, but I don't think he gets more bisexual than that, mate.
He's even got the purple.
That's pretty fucking bisexual. There was no more bisexual than the OG.
He puts the bi in biker taker.
So we use it this picture because we've been laughing at it for a good 5 straight minutes.
What we was talking earlier about the nostalgia and the reign of terror and the reality of the situation. I have so much nostalgia for that.
Yeah,
and
when I think of this Undertaker, I get the image of Stephanie McMahon
on the cross,
and then next to it, Austin on the cross.
Eventually,
fuck you.
You son of a bitch! I can't even drink my beer because my arms are out here. But even eventually, Undertaker on the cross. Which I will say, as a testament to the look and the production of that, even when Undertaker got crucified, he was still fucking terrifying. It was so cool.
I'm saying an A. What's your vote?
Originally, I was going to go for a C, but I think I've just worked myself into going for a high B. High B. I'm gonna follow you on this and go A.
I think this is A. It's Attitude Era, which holds such a part in everyone's heart. I think again, in reference to how ridiculous Attitude Era was, Mark was delivering in terms of being, I think, in line with the era at that time. The early ones, he was finding his feet. He was rocking probably the most insane gimmick of all the 90s. As clearly established, one of the most insane conceptualized things in all of wrestling, and he was finding his feet and making it work. At this point, he was making it work, and he was one of the best characters weekly in the show.
Yeah, it was. no matter the quality of it, you wanted to know what was going to happen because it was so unpredictable.
Yeah, it was insane. It was like, go back and you watch it now and you're like, Jesus Christ. So
Fucking, she's like 17. What's he crucifying her for? You
cheesy.
can't marry her. He's a nonce.
She came out of Linda's vagina. It's a sperm. She's got to be Satan's spawn.
The dating under 17-year-olds take her.
So I'm gonna do it. Throwing it back to the Raw when Stephanie was in the crowd. She did the Stephanie face. I just burst out laughing. People, I laughed. She did the Stephanie face. It was like, what's like the Stephanie face? She doesn't know how to smile
She's learning.
or hide the fact that she's a McMahon, so she just goes. She's like sneers like.
Will you be my friend?
I know we weren't gonna do it by gimmick, but like we're gonna have to throw a biker in here.
Yeah, I mean that was still in the Attitude Era.
Well, he was also still rocking the biker during the early phases of the
Yeah.
ruthless aggression, so we can we can reserve the biker for that.
So the way I'm seeing it now is, I think you could break biker down into three specific things. I think you could have American Badass, Big Evil, Booger Red, and then you got the Dead Man Walking. I think you could break those down into three very similar but slightly unique characters.
But what eras did they all appear in?
Ah.
So like, it's like when I said I was going to Google, and when I googled Attitude Era, it was mostly got me. There's not much. There's one picture with him and down.
I think there's a very clear distinction here.
But if we said ruthless aggression, because obviously by the invasion he was biker.
Yeah, he was still American Badass. That American Badass started Judgment Day 2000, went on until just after the invasion ended, when he decided, I'm going to be a cunt and make JR kiss Vince McMahon's ass. Don't know why, he immediately dropped to the mid-card.
What's weird is when I Google ruthless aggression Undertaker, I get just mostly figures.
I like the pose on that one.
Which one? This one?
Yeah. Walking like an Egyptian.
They all mostly have bandanas, except for the one that Steven likes. But you got this one.
Yeah.
American Badass. He's got the flag backwards.
I may be dead, but I love the red, white, and blue.
So there's worse ones. There's so many. What the fuck is this?
What? It looks like he's wiping his ass with it.
Yeah.
He's in a towel.
Yeah, we'll use that one. So, where are we ranking that in terms of? This is what I recognise him most as a champion.
Interesting.
Because honestly, when I go back to early Undertaker, I rarely see him as a champion. It was more just him being the phenom, being the doing the weird gothic shit.
Yeah. Until the last half of his career, he wasn't really going for the belt.
He never needed it.
Yeah. I mean, if we think about the times he's won the belt, he held it for a week in 91. He won it again in 97. 1999, did he? He did win it in 1999. 2002. 2007. And then something after that, I don't care. It was diminishing returns.
Random World Heavyweight Championship. Right?
Yeah, that feud with Kane. I don't think he did win it in that. American Badass out of these is the one I have the least knowledge of. It's always the two that came after, which is where I kind of got into him.
Well, I remember the feud with DDP.
Yeah, that was American Badass.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was.
I remember the random Brothers in Destruction run. There was I distinctly remember a match with, I believe it was the Hardys and Kane and Undertaker versus Edge and Christian and Triple H and Stone Cold.
2-man power trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was super excited for this match because it was literally like my two favorite tag teams teaming up.
Yeah.
And I was like, was this match made for me?
Did
they're also going against the people I disliked the most.
The most, yeah.
Like, perfectly. Because I didn't hate Stone Cold. He wasn't my favourite. I didn't like Triple H. I didn't like Edge and Christian. I was like, this is perfect.
part of maturity, though, isn't it? Realizing that Edge and Christian were
Yeah, all right. Hardys were better.
the Dudleys were better than both of them.
Yeah.
That's maturity. Realizing the Dudleys were better than the Hardys.
Majority was realizing Kane and Undertaker weren't actually that much of a tag team.
Yeah.
They were just all gimmick. Like, yeah, look at them. They're terrifying.
Yeah. They were Marvel rivals team up boosts. You can't stop them when they're together, but half the time he's going to be
These two giant zombies.
he's going to be teaming with X-Pac, who gives him no buffs instead.
Attitude buff.
So you know more about American Badass. I'm going to let you start with the ranking on that.
I would say, weirdly, I'd say this was about the time that like Taker was finally being treated fairly as like one of the final bosses. I think Vince was starting to use him as like one of the final bosses. You know, he'd be the one like, especially around the invasion angles. Like, aside from like Stone Cold, obviously did the whole jumping ship thing was more controversial. Like, you know, especially Kane and Undertaker, like talking about Brother Destruction, like they were just like the super heavies that like, you know, when that music hit, didn't matter how many guys were
business is picking up.
Like it's over. Like Undertaker's gonna come clear the ring, and like it takes a lot to take him out, and that was sort of like him. And like so when he went on a run as well for a championship, it was like he shouldn't lose. And it was about time. I think it was like he built up enough like popularity. I think by that point.
Yeah. I mean, it had been 10 years of him in the company at that point as well, so it's probably the most tenured person on the roster.
Yeah, and I think it was time. And I think that's why the Badass Gimmick, like, you know, I think that's why they also tapped into him being more of the American hero rather than being a dead guy. Because they're like, let's make him more of a company man.
Yeah.
As in, like, a more marketable company man. You know, I think now they wouldn't have cared. They probably would have, like, you know, because of his character, like, the man, he could be the one over champion as the dead man. I think that's probably why he was, like, flag waving American, you know, American badass.
American Badass.
But it was also fun. I don't hate it. I'm saying it looks like it was a very good marketing ploy, but it was fun. It was a fun Undertaker. Like, I put it in the A. I'm not going to go an S tier.
No.
I do it an A because American Badass was like, one of the most fun Undertaker to watch. And he still made his losses convincing as well when he did sometimes go down. Sometimes took multiple people. Sometimes he just got outdone.
Yeah, he was all over the place. Like,
he was mostly face here though. Like,
I think he was face the whole time.
Like, this is where he was like, I think, you know, Taker's pretty much because popularity always a face. But I think this is where he was like actually the face. That's why I said like the American hero sort of side of it, American Badass, he was like pushed as the face of the company.
Yeah, he was one of the big guys. He was the current Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Then immediately after that, you have he stayed the American Badass when you went into the transitional period, which is such an interesting one. It's what you alluded to earlier with the two-man power trip, which kind of got fucked when Triple H got injured. And I always forget how short that run was, because it was like 3 months, that transitional period, before you have the invasion. And even going into the invasion, he's still the American Badass. So, what, a year and a half is this? And then you get to the end of 2001, and you have this other transitional period, which is that little space, which I'm always fascinated by, because there's no face of the company in this time. It's everywhere. There's no identity. Sales are down. It's all a bit weird. Raw's got a really ugly logo, and it's just not a nice product. But that's when he brings Big Evil, and he's feuding with like RVD, Maven, and then immediately after this, he beats Hogan for the belt.
Lesnar?
Yes, that I wouldn't say that's in this heel run. It's when he turns face. But this is Big Evil, and I kind of have a soft spot for Big Evil because it's just him being a big nasty bastard.
Yeah, he's like, I hit people with chairs now. And
yeah,
unnecessarily mean.
He spits out his tobacco and Tommy Dreamer drinks it. It's like, what's he doing that for? It's that bit where he just has like the Lemmy moustache as well.
I'm going to force us to do a big bit of a jump because, like I said, doing the era thing and obviously time conscious.
Oh yeah, you have a quiz, don't you?
I do indeed.
Shit, yeah, we need to.
So we've got
Big Evil. I'm putting in B for Buried Alive. Or sorry, bird alarm.
Then obviously we have like the era where he was slowly transitioning to like not being around as much and turning up just for Mania to face people.
Yep.
He was like
S tier. Straight up S tier. I'm not having anything else.
that's the big evil image. And that's what I'm going.
That is so fake.
It's hilarious.
What? Show me
That's
his
the
face
Michael
again.
one.
Yeah, that's big evil. That. It's like he forgot his gear at home.
It is a deviant art.
Yeah, of course. Fucking just out of shot is someone with a picture of his feet or something.
What
Fucking deviant art.
Why is his hand open? His hand's always like.
Because he's an MMA fighter. Sorry.
Big Evil gets a B, and then it's a bit hard because he wasn't like storied too much, except for like going back to Feud of Kane.
CM Punk.
That's not true, but...
No, this was kind of the start of that period where he would only appear yearly. There was a little run with Rey Mysterio in there, which had a really good match in it. A really good 8-minute match as well, which I fucking love. I love when you can get it all down. The same with films. Your film does not need to be 2.5 hours long. That's a different thing. You had a CM Punk feud in there, which was really weird, and it gave birth to the iconic. What was it he said to Teddy Long in the car? Buckle up, Teddy.
Yeah, buckle up, Teddy. These have to be yes, because
100%.
Slow transition giving us bangers at WrestleMania, and Michaels back and forth, and because we can't really put too much on what the actual eras are after PG. He doesn't fit into all his Revolution. He's not part of wasn't massively a part of what's happening now. So
no,
that ends our run of Mark.
No,
tier list.
That last one, I think that's the one everyone remembers most fondly of The Undertaker.
Yeah.
He's
slow run to the Swan song.
Yeah. Where every single year, I want to say between 2008 and 2013, for a run of 6 Manias, he had the best match on the show. Then he did fuck all week.
And then they broke our hearts.
We finally had a bit of niceness towards Mark. We have to just leave it there.
Yeah. That's just
Maybe
I'll post the short list.
You're on the One Dead Man show.
Now for the quiz, and if we have time, our final closing statements. Well, I'll maybe explain about the kayfabe stuff. But on the note of kayfabe, so this isn't fact or fame. No. This is as I like to do to you. I like to test your smartdom. So this the season 3 opening quiz is whose fabe is this?
Whose fabe?
Yes. I'm going to give you a synopsis, a little synopsis of my own creation.
Oh.
A Smarky synopsis. I'm going to need you to name at least 2 significant characters or wrestlers or talents from this synopsis or from this story. I'll give you 2 guesses per question.
So it's kind of like there's a story and I need to say who was involved in it.
Yeah. Whose story am I describing, or who's involved in this? Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. I'm worried you're going to smash this, by the way. I don't think they're too hard.
You've seen how I do on your quizzes.
You do all right. I'm really tested, and this is like a number 1 contenders type situation. If you fail this, then you get to give one to me, and then we decide who gets to then challenge for the belt first. We'll go like that.
Okay.
Okie doke. So, number 1. A wedding gone wrong when the betrothed admit that they were only in it for the publicity.
Billy, Chuck, Eric Bischoff's in there. 3-minute warning, Rico.
Yes. It is Billy and Chuck when they admitted they were not gay.
They got no problem with that.
No problem with being gay.
Weirdly liberal. It got a real pop as well.
Eric Bischoff was dressed up as an old man in the whole fake mask thing, like Mission Impossible style.
Did you like that segment? Because
It
I know
was so strange.
it's
for
like a
me.
Marmite of a segment, but I love it. It's
I
everything
watched it
wrestling
as a
should be.
kid. I watched that like Saturday morning on Sky. It was so strange.
It made me think people dressing up in masks and revealing themselves at the last minute was going to be a way bigger problem in my life than it actually was.
Okay, moving on. Okay. Reading this out would be so funny. All right. A rivalry that sees one person introduce a giant enforcer to seek revenge for problems caused by kissing the other's feet.
That is Bret Hart, Jerry Lawler, Isaac Yankem DDS.
Correct.
Wrestling's fucking dumb.
Jerry Lawler had to kiss Bret Hart's feet, and
Yeah,
it
he
caused
can
him
kiss his own feet as well.
it caused him dental problems. So he got in a 7-foot dentist with bad teeth to beat up Bret Hart. It makes no sense. Oh God, wrestling.
Oh man. You can immediately tell when this was as well. It was when the ratings were at their lowest. I wonder why.
So dumb.
The worst part is they did a rerun of that angle with fucking Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole. They had a Kiss My Foot match. It's like, how are we level on stupid Kiss My Ass matches and Kiss My Foot matches? Just do something normal.
It's Vince. I mean, that piece of shit. Anyway, question 3. This story peaked. Not really peaked. I don't know why I wrote peaked. I'm just reading what I wrote earlier. This story peaked when one of the competitors scared the other into thinking they were about to die. Revenge for disrespecting their belongings.
They're gonna die? Oh, that's a good one. Can I get a repeat on that?
This story peaked when one of the competitors scared the other into thinking they were about to die. Revenge for disrespecting their belongings.
Oh man. Immediately my mind goes to something like an Undertaker feud. But death's a really hard concept to do in wrestling.
Maybe, don't take the death like too literally.
Oh.
Wrestling death, or like at least a severe amount of pain caused.
I might have to pass on that.
Take a guess.
Can I have No, can I have an era on that? Just to keep it topical.
Yeah, I'll give you era. Attitude era.
Attitude era. Belonging. I'm gonna kick myself when I don't get this. No, I'll pass.
You are going to kick yourself. Because what I was describing was Kurt Angle making Stone Cold cry when he thought he was about to throw him off a bridge for throwing his gold medals off of the bridge.
We've even spoken about
We talked about this on the pod. Okay, that's your first incorrect. You are 2 for 3. Right. Question number 4. A duo fall apart after one accidentally pins the other for a title when they laid on them to revive them.
It does sound like the Guerreros. Chavo and Chavo. Or is it Michelle McCool and Layla? This has happened a lot.
Oh, see, that was two guesses. You're so close. You were so close. What I was describing was Eddie pinning China for the Intercontinental Championship when he was protecting her from not losing the belt because she was in a match with Angle and he protects her and pins her by reviving her after she's hit with the title.
It's so dumb and it's so Eddie.
It's so good. That was the end of their the end of their little partnership.
Mamacita.
Yeah.
That thing. Which it feels like one of those things which I always remember, but I couldn't tell you exactly when it was.
Yeah, same. I had to like double check it. I was like, what the fuck was this?
I think that was distinct enough from the other occasions. I'm happy to. I'm happy to concede that.
That was just before the redo of DX.
Redo of DX.
Yeah, because she was with Eddie before they reunited.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll concede. I respect it.
Okay, that's two. That's 2 for 4 now. Okay, I was getting worried. I thought you were going to destroy this. Number 5. This one is so dark. One man steals another man's wife / family, and that's the whole rivalry. Also, the marriage was not kayfabe.
Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett.
I think I just felt like being controversial when putting this one in.
What an asshole! That's targeted assault.
That angle was nuts. Jeff Jarrett got fired basically for that as well. It was nuts.
But even on TV, they started calling her Karen Jarrett. But it's no wonder
they featured their real kids. Oh, that angle was nuts. I never actually saw it live. I've read and seen a lot about that angle.
Yeah, it does make me wish I'd seen more TNA. If there is a network for TNA in the UK, I know there's one in America. It's like Fight Network or something. I really want to go back and watch some old TNA. Like 2006, that kind of stuff.
I'd even go back and watch the fucking, the whole main event mafia nonsense.
Yeah. And then get the fuck out of there before January 4th.
Right, question number 6. This angle saw a young guy proudly beating up old men on a weekly basis.
A young guy beating up old men on a weekly basis. That was Chris Jericho before WrestleMania, where he was fighting Ricky Steamboat. There were others. Roddy Piper. You had Mickey Rourke in there as well. There's one more.
I'm gonna stop you there. That's not the correct answer.
Oh, what?
Because Jericho's not young. He wasn't young.
He was pretty young. Yeah. All right, so this is like a 20-year-old kind of guy. Kind of an era.
This would be Ruthless Aggression.
Ruthless Aggression.
It's a lot easier than it should be, this one.
Does kind of feel like Brock.
Do you find answer Brock Lesnar?
Sorry?
Brock Lesnar? You going with Brock Lesnar?
Oh, I was. Let's go. It's all fucking in the room next to us.
I don't know. It sounds very bouncy next door. It's very, very worrying. Let's push you for an answer.
Young guy beating up old guys. I'm going to go Brock Lesnar.
You were close when you started listing people, but it was Randy Orton.
Oh, the Legend Killer.
Of course, the Legend Killer angle was where he was just beating up old men on a weekly basis.
That's one of the easiest ones as well. I work myself into a shoot. I go down a rabbit hole.
This one, I'm going all over. I feel like I've gone all over the place with these ones. Question 7. Close friend betrays another because, to quote, they didn't invite them to WrestleMania.
Era, please.
I'll be kind and say reality era. I'll give you this much of a hint. They don't necessarily fight these two people one-on-one. It's just part of a story. But the main issue being like the turning point in the story is because Quote, one didn't invite the other to WrestleMania.
God damn it. This is hard.
This is one of the tougher ones.
Yeah. Reality era as well.
Or even, it's more recent than you think.
Yeah. I'm so getting outed on this. I like to think it's
like that
less
you said
because of my
that.
knowledge and more because of the way you've worded these. But that Legend Killer one's gonna fucking sting. Didn't invite him to Mania.
My next thing, it was very much, his angle was very much used to push somebody else, to like put someone else over who was sort of new-ish to the roster, kind of.
Sounds like they
Kind of new to the roster.
So it kind of feels like they chose someone as a tag partner as opposed to this person. Why didn't you want with me?
Almost. Can I again push you for an answer?
Reality hero. I'm gonna pass.
What I was describing was MVP betraying Bobby Lashley and choosing to manage Omos because he was mad that Bobby didn't bring him to WrestleMania and his.
I'm fine not getting that.
That was 2022, I believe.
Mania 38?
Yeah.
I'll be real.
And that led to the Bobby
Yeah.
versus Omos back and forth.
As much of an homosexual as I am, I had no idea of that one. Really.
I only picked up on it recently. I was watching it like a month ago. I was like, this whole fucking thing. I was like, I just thought of it. I was like, I was remembering like MVP complaining, and I was like, that's so random, but that is quite a major point because like he'd been with Bobby for ages, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't bring me to WrestleMania. I was sat on my couch. It was great. All right, question number 8. I have worded this very horribly, very intentionally. Like, remember, this is my synopsis. Smarky synopsis. A gang of bullies arrive, who then encounter bigger bullies who proceed to make the bullies look stupid and old.
Stupid and old. Oh. Era.
Oh, this is a good one. This is that murky area between the attitude and the ruthless aggression. That's the biggest and only hint I'm giving you.
Repeat it for me again, please.
A gang of bullies arrive, who then encounter bigger bullies who proceed to make the bullies look stupid and old. What am I describing there?
Look stupid and old. It's not the invasion.
It might be.
No.
No, it's not. It's not. Technically not.
Technically not. Oh no, don't say technically.
Again, I said I wasn't giving any more hints. That is sort of a hint.
Oh. I want to go the invasion.
Come on, you got this. I'm gonna push you for an answer. I want to help you a bit. Like, you're so close with where I think you're at with your line of thinking, but know that I'm being intentionally vague, but think more about who I'm describing in terms of when I say a gang of bullies.
A gang of bullies.
Stupid and old.
Stupid and old. Motherfucker.
Gonna
I'd be
push it.
really interested to see what how
People think.
early people are getting these as well.
What people think about my wording. What you got? Gonna push for the answer. We've got 2 more left.
Bigger gang of bullies.
You're gonna hate this. Just say what you're thinking.
I want to say the Invasion.
I can't give it to you. I'm talking about the NWO coming up against Rock and Stone Cold. Because Rock and Stone Cold are trash talking bullies who the NWO introduced, they start trashing people, they come across Rock and Austin who basically make them look stupid. And also are kind of bullies.
Do.
And they make them look stupid and old. Because they're old and outdated.
Oh, that was a harsh one.
It was harsh. It was intentionally
at home who got that. Let me know, because I need some. I will accept all the other ones, and my wrongdoings there. I need support on that one, because that was a fucking ball ache.
Right, the last 2. Right, this one's funny. I forgot I wrote this. Growing frustrated with their underhanded tactics and attempts to screw them over, this wrestler puts a female non-wrestler in a wheelchair for months.
God.
Oh my god! What? Do we read that one
female wrestler?
Female non-wrestler.
Is that Vince and Linda?
Oh, no. Close. No, not close. No, I won't say that. So again, growing frustrated with their underhanded tactics and attempts to screw them over, this wrestler puts a female non-wrestler in a wheelchair. I would say for weeks. I won't say for months. For weeks.
It's got to be Attitude Era.
No.
What era?
I don't know. I can't remember fully. I don't know why we're landing it, because I can't remember exactly the year for this one. So I can't remember if it's Ruthless Aggression or after. But around that. I'll give you around that.
I can imagine it as well. That's the worst part.
It's such a random one. It's so fucking random.
Because I can imagine him wheeling them down to the ring.
They're not a wrestler, remember. So think of someone who isn't a wrestler who's been put in a wheelchair after they piss someone off too much.
We've all been there. I'm imagining like 2006.
Make me realize I probably could have gone on easy, because there's so many I didn't do. It's like, that's so easy. No, that's so easy.
Yeah, you wanted me to suffer.
Get down to our last 10 minutes left of the podcast. So I'm going to push you for an answer again.
I
you
would
had
take
one
those
guess.
10 minutes. I would take those 10 minutes if I could.
If it helps, I think you're going to get the last one. But this one...
So I need to get this one to...
And if it helps, I'll give you 2 points for the last one if you get everything for it. But first, to help yourself, you need to try and just give me a guess for this one.
Underhanded.
This one, I think the wording is very fair.
Can I get one more time?
Growing frustrated with their underhanded tactics and attempts to screw them over, this wrestler puts a female non-wrestler in a wheelchair for months. Or for weeks.
Vicky Guerrero?
Yes!
Yeah!
From...
Oh!
I need 2 names.
Oh, you need 2? Fuck!
Who puts her in a wheelchair? And how?
Oh, you didn't
Well,
say
you
how.
don't say how, but like it's very obvious when you name the person, you'll know how.
Wasn't John Cena.
It was not John Cena. I'll give you one more guess on the wrestler.
Edge?
No, it's The Undertaker! He
tombstones her. Of course he does. Fuck!
He gets pissed off.
That must have been...
It was around that time, though, with the feuds like she's controlling Edge and...
Yeah, that had been around like when he's got the Edge heads. It's like WrestleMania 24.
I don't know that much. You know more than me about that.
Because I can picture Vicky in a neck brace.
Yeah.
You're a sick man.
Okay, this one is so obvious, but I'll give you 2 points if you can give me everything I want to hear from this answer, and you'll know immediately. A person becomes enraged at a new talent who they believe to be a known wrestler in disguise.
So, Vince McMahon. This is immediately after the WrestleMania 19 match, in which Hulk Hogan, feigned cunt, defeats him. And then Vince gets rid of Hulk Hogan, and immediately a blue masked man with a little star on his forehead comes in with a little moustache like that. And his name is Mr. America. And throughout the course of this, there's a little bit on SmackDown afterwards where this wrestler he's even had lie detector tests where he is proven to not be Hulk Hogan, lifts the mask up to reveal Hulk Hogan, and goes shh on national television.
I'll give you 1 point.
Oh.
For the second point?
Are you looking for more people? Or
Maybe. Or maybe.
You got Roddy Piper in there.
No, not more people. I'm talking about maybe another instance of this exact same story.
I mean, I'll give you the tidbit, which is Juan Cena, which didn't happen.
No.
But I love so much.
Come on. Think a lot more recently.
A lot more recently. Ah, shit. That's my worst era with a product.
Not that recently.
Well, that recently.
Before I started watching again.
Please start watching again.
There was a lie detector test involved. I believe even a DNA test.
I don't know if I know that one.
Oh, I can only give you 1 point then. I was looking for Elias/Ezekiel and Kevin Owens with the exact same story. Because I saw it recently and I was like, this is just the fucking Mr. America thing all over it.
But it's so much better.
So much dumber.
Yeah. All the
It's a guy that no one knows.
As soon as
it's hard, it's going to be someone else.
As soon as he came down to the ring, you could hear the chatter in the crowd as well. Like, that is Elias. I'm not gonna lie. I feel ashamed of how this has gone.
You got 4 out of 6. 4 out of 10. Sorry. You could have got a bonus point and got 5. But unfortunately, you were not able to say or identify whose fame this is. Until next time. On that part of the thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be the most shameful way of ending this show possible.
Stephen loses. Let's go home.
Don't even get to play Stephen Flo. Fuck's sake.
Only if you win, we play Stephen Flo.
Stephen, no.
What I was gonna get into was my little bit about how I feel like the kayfabe has changed, and maybe get into some predictions. But I'll say this much: I was watching Seth Rollins on Chris Van Vliet, and watching his little tirade about his real reasons for not liking Punk and what's real about their rivalry and how they're choosing to work together. I'm like,
yep,
this is the new kayfabe. And what I mean by that is like, I'll put a massive comparison. Like back when we had Hogan and Savage having the jealousy over Savage's wife,
which was really, really real.
I feel like everyone could have accepted that there was still probably like no like nothing real about it, but it was probably being embellished for the sake of the story. I'll put up another mirror and say, like, let's look at what happened with Matt and Jeff.
Matt and Edge.
Matt and Edge, where something very real happened, and they used that because people knew, because we're in an era where people will, well, at that time, we're in an era where people found out the real story, people realised the truth to it, and it made the story more interesting. Now, we're in a situation where they can do that, but they can manipulate it because we don't know as fans. We don't know the true nature of their friendship or relationship. Like, people could find pictures of them backstage from 6 years ago. Oh, they must have been friends. We don't know. We don't know the story behind that picture. And I think with things like that, they can now find this new middle ground. It's like, okay, we know what people will know about us. We know what people have access to, and now we can now find a new channel, a new thin line to play with kayfabe and play with the reality. And that's why, like, we're in a new form of kayfabe where they're finally figured out how to play with fans.
Yeah, with the constant flow of things coming out on dirt sheets, which kind of, there's always some hint of truth, but you never get the full story. You're able to capitalize on that, and you're able to just kind of, as you say, use the thin line and take the idea and you put it through a filter. So what might be a legitimate beef, like in the Seth Rollins CM Punk case, you're able to actually say, well, no, it's because of wrestling reasons. I don't like you because of this. And then just being professionals means you work through it and then you adapt it. Like I have no doubts that what Seth Rollins said about him not liking CM Punk for overshadowing Randy Orton's return is true. But at the same time, I doubt he gives that much of a fuck. But there is probably something there, a reason they don't like each other.
No, though. Did they really don't know? Like, come on, this is a multi-billion-dollar project, right? Like, you're telling me they're not going to tell them? Oh, by the way, the curtain call, CM Punk's come out, or expect something.
Yeah. I mean, they moved Randy Orton's surprise return to the SmackDown a week in advance. Even if I know Punk signed the contract.
I think they did know. Come on.
Punk signed the contract in a fucking container at Survivor Series. But as soon as he became a free agent after AEW, they were like, get the ball in motion. Fucking bring him back. Move Randy Orton forward just in case. And then, even if he doesn't sign, everyone gets Randy Orton back. Everyone knows. But I kind of like this repurposing of kayfabe, because kayfabe's been dead and buried for a long fucking time.
Exactly, which is also why I like the Rock stuff. Like, it sounds crazy, right? But like, I think it's more fun if we have him sort of blatantly being sort of like a marketing board director guy, and then what could be fun is maybe his character turns around and we start having him abuse his power. That's why I didn't mind the idea, and I'm sort of disappointed if it is fake and it / has been sport of him coming in 31st.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree.
Like, that's kind of genius. That's kind of good, because that would be literally him being like, I put myself in his room. Yeah. It's like, okay, but
to do it
fun.
It's one thing to do it in the way like Triple H did it a few years ago when he came in at like 30 or something. But to do it at 31 is a new level of shithousery. Yeah. To be an absolute scumbag and be like, I'll have another point, please. Even more points if he does it like right at the end when the last person has been eliminated. Someone's celebrating in the ring. And then all of a sudden, if you smell...
What I would love to see, and maybe not, I don't have got time for my actual predictions anymore. I think it would be fun for us to play around in interesting ways with The Rock this year, because I think, the focus this year is obviously on Cena. Wouldn't it be fun to have like The Rock ruining Cena's final year by like overstepping? Like, imagine we have like moments where like The Rock just keeps like pushing Cena, like interrupting and like putting Cena in places. Like, he just like he's putting Cena in the elimination chamber. He's doing he's like doing things for Cena as for the directors, and like everyone just starts getting annoyed at his abuse of power. But he's doing it for Cena to like pan to the crowd. Like, it'd be fun.
Yeah, the people want Cena.
He's gone so corporate that he's now pissing us off.
And then it's gonna lead to thrice in a lifetime.
And like, it'd just be interesting. Like, they have interesting ways to play with the meta, and I think they're showing signs of it now. I think we've had the start of the year where they've obviously done all the marketing bullshit, putting the title back on Rhea. Let's, start the year off with everything recognizable, all the things in place to try and draw people in, and then let's actually have some fun.
Yeah, next week will be a bit more of a standard episode where they'll introduce new characters like Gunter. I know he had a little promo package, but you'll get to see him. People like, you're going to get Chad Gable and Penta.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more standard. I do like the idea of The Rock just trying to pander to people so people like him, but in reality, he's just a heel without realizing it. Unfortunately, Moana 2 did really well at the box office, so he's got to try and capitalize on that.
I saw it. It wasn't terrible.
I don't care. I haven't seen a Disney or Pixar film in a very long time.
Took Olivia for her birthday.
Actually,
of course, you saw Inside Out.
I only saw the first one like a week before that.
Let's remind people that depression exists.
I was going to complain about the theme song to it, and I was like, no, we can't reach this level of low. But in spite of the shame and agony of losing what was a very well thought out challenge, I'm going to lose sleep over not getting the Legend Killer one right.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. You brought up Jericho, but you didn't think that that was a straight copying of the Legend Killer thing.
When you're doing one of those, I think it's so easy to visualize a storyline, and because by the time I'd even considered there might have been other ones, I already had 3 members of that storyline, and immediately you're just kind of thinking, fuck, what other storylines were like this? Yeah. And then one of the most iconic storylines ever, which is the Legend Killer, you're done. But in spite of that, I'm very pleased to be back.
I was tempted to try to do some more of those or something in that vein. I feel like Faye, playing with Faye sort of things, as we like to laugh at stories.
Yeah, I know you saw the Netflix UK advertising where they're doing that. Is it a Netflix story or is it a WWE story?
I didn't.
Okay. You should be on the advertising team then.
I should be.
They're copying what you're doing.
No, I came up with this I don't know, maybe a month ago. I admittedly only did the last 4 questions today. It was hard to come up with the questions. I had to jump between, actually fact checking myself because I had ideas, and then some of them I was like, let me look into this. I actually the Bret Hart Isaac Yankem one, I looked into why Isaac Yankem existed, and that's what led me to create the question.
But you need to understand how your favourite came to be.
As in, I knew about Isaac Yankem, but I didn't realize he was brought in by Lawler because of the feet thing. I just knew he was brought in by Lawler. That was about it. I did not know the whole angle about him being angry at Bret for his teeth. It's insane.
It's such a left turn as well, because that was the culmination of a 2-year feud, and it's a bit of a weird blow off to just have it be they have this weird stipulation match, and then they get someone else to do the fighting for him, and then it's never mentioned again.
Then Isaac Yankem was never mentioned again.
His planet needed him. Planet Teeth.
They put a mask on him and said, "You're someone else now. You're related to the Undertaker."
It would have been great if when they did the Kane unmasking, they just...
It's Isaac Yankem! Ah, son of a bitch! And Lawler's like, I knew it! He still hasn't fixed my teeth! God, in the dark timeline.
I want to see it.
Right, it's wrap-up time, I think, on that one. And we'll try and be back soon.
Yeah, I enjoyed being back.
Maybe we'll be back after Hustle event. After our next Hustle. Because Hustle's on a Thursday. We could do that week.
We could try.
I'll
see if my new football team is playing.
Your new football team?
Yeah, it's fucking outed me. But it inspired the fact that we didn't introduce ourselves at the start as we used to. I'm Stephen.
I'm Zach. We are the SmarkZ. Which, for the record, to over-explain, is Smart Mark. We're not it's not Stephen Mark or something I don't know. Some genuinely people ask, what's Smart? It's Smart Mark. I think we said it episode 1, season 1. Smart Mark. Yeah. Yes, we're Smart Marks.
You got to do what people are doing with WrestleMania on Netflix and go back to the first one.
Yeah, go back.
When does Roman Reigns appear?
Deal with our terrible audio.
Good old days.
And on that, Good night, everybody. Oh yes.
Oh, yes.